Twitter. Everybody has all the answers, right? So, what's going on, fellow Dominators? Doing a little something different here. I'm just relaxing. I don't really like having to talk about these things, but I feel it's necessary with the shutdown. Everything's getting crazy and out of control. Everybody has a platform, but not everybody's qualified to speak on things. I took the weekend off from Twitter, did not look at it. I tell you, it was great. It was such a great decluttering of the mind and all the mind-numbing nonsense that's been going around. And I talked about this in length in my last video. You know, and those who don't know and can't accept that they don't know, they just want to double down on their madness. And it's disturbing. And it's disturbing. I feel the need to talk about it because it's affecting young players who think they want to go as far as they can. They want to be the best, and that's how it should be at that age. However, they don't have the cognition to understand what's right and what's wrong with certain things, especially when instructors are salesmen. And they're selling them on things which may or may not be proven to work. Now, I understand ingenuity and innovation, and there's a risk with it. But you're also putting a risk on people's careers, and that's scary. It's damaging. I've been down that road before all this technological data overtook things. There were still bad teachings then. Even if you have the data to prove things, not everyone can correlate that and express it to younger players in a way that's digestible and they can use it. I mean, you can really offset a player's progress very quickly. You can send them back large chunks at a time, several years at a time with misdirection, especially when they're going through the growing phase and they're developing into their body, right? And you have them doing something that just doesn't make sense. It's not natural, but you keep selling them on the nonsense so you can align your pockets more. You're doing a huge disservice to the game. Now, which brings me to my first main point here. You have to respect the hierarchy of this great game. You have to respect those who have come before you, those who have put in the time and effort and went through the ups and downs, right? The trials and tribulations, the headaches, the adversity of this game to make it as far as they did, right? The hierarchy. You start at the bottom, you got to work your way to the top. Very few make it to the top. So, who's at the pinnacle of the pitching hierarchy right now? Garrett Cole, Verlander, Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg. I mean, it's fair to say, arguably, those four, among others, are at the top. But let's be completely honest. They were all first-round picks. Two of them were first picks overall. The other two were very high first-round picks. Verlander was second. Scherzer was, I don't remember where. I know he was maybe in the top 10 of his draft class. These people are freaks of nature. They're there for a reason. It's more than just putting in the work. Obviously, they did, right? And they set the trail with it. But also, everyone wants to sleep on physical ability. Everybody thinks that we're all equal physically. We're all equal on a talent level, and it's who outworks the next. And it's not like that. If you paid attention to the game, if you've been around the game, it's not like that at all. I mean, I'm a firm believer that as an athlete, you're going to get to where you're supposed to get to as an athlete. And that's determined by your natural ability, your work ethic, the other intangibles as well. You know, you could be a talented player, but you're lazy. You're going to get to where you're supposed to. You know, you could be a scrapper player, not much talent, but you work, and you're going to get to a level people didn't expect you to. That's where you're supposed to get to based on who you are as the full package of what kind of person and what kind of player you are. Everyone nowadays thinks we're all equal. They have this entitlement mentality that we're all equal. And, you know, it's just, well, if I follow my velocity program, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. No, you're not. I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying you're not good enough. I'm saying your ego is getting in the way of reality, okay? Your entitlements are blinding you from what really goes on. And you have to look around. You have to pay attention to the game. Because you're going to see some guy come out that, you know, doesn't look like an athlete, right? Doesn't look like he can play. And you know what? Some guys like that will jump past you in a blink of an eye. And you're going to wonder, you're going to ponder everything. All the money you've invested or your parents have invested in training and lessons and private instruction. And it's just bypassed. That's the way the game goes. All right? And what I want to touch on with this is if you don't respect the hierarchy of this game and those who came before you and those who have been there, done that, and you act like you're on the level playing field with them, you really shouldn't be in the game. And with that kind of attitude, the game's going to weed you out sooner than later. The game has a way of just thinning itself out. Those don't respect it. Those don't deserve to be there. All right? I mean, even if you're a talented player and you have that mentality, people don't want to be with you. People don't want to deal with you. They're not going to give you that slack. All right? I'll put it this way. Those who, in professional baseball, those who are drafted in the lower rounds or not drafted at all, there's a much shorter leash with them. So you have very, very little margin for error, for screwing up, for not producing, for not holding your own, for not being a person of high character and thinking you are owed something. There's the door. I mean, it's professional baseball. They're not going to wait for you, especially when you're a lower round draft pick. Unless they find a diamond in the rough, but everybody wants to be the exception to the rule. Seriously, that's 1 in 1,000. Because there's a thing that's always been around baseball. I really hope it's still around. I don't know. I haven't been in the game, in the clubhouses as much lately. But big leaguing. You just got big leagued. It's an expression that's been around forever. It's basically when someone does not know what they're talking about, does not belong there, tries to tell a major leaguer or someone of great status, tries to put them in their place. And it's just a quiet shrug off like, dude, you don't talk to me like that. Go sit in the corner. Sit and learn, okay? When you get some results with the big boys, then we'll let you talk. But fortunately, that's going by the wayside today. Social media, everybody thinks they're an expert. They all think they're geniuses. They're all trying to reinvent the wheel. And you know what? That part is not anything new. People for years have been trying to reinvent the wheel of this great game. It's usually the people who are trying to make a name for themselves or make money off of something. All right? Where's the integrity? Where's the integrity? Is it really getting players better? Is it tested in battle, in game situations? All right, any drills can make you feel good about yourself or make you feel like you're going places and, give you a little bit of a boost. But when you see some of these drills online and these tactics people are using, having their players use, my goodness, I mean, it's just disturbing to watch. And they are so full of themselves and so committed and sold on their own ideologies that there's no better way. I mean, it's disturbing. And you see young kids now think they know everything. Even if they can study and understand the modern terminology, right? It's a game played by humans. It's not a game played by robots. It's a game played by human beings and flawed human beings. We all are, okay? And it's still a game of the team that makes the fewest mistakes wins the game, all right? The players that make the fewest mistakes, they have the most success, the ones that learn from their mistakes, right? And can handle it and basically cover their losses from their mistakes and redeem themselves. They're the ones that have the most success. But like right now, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is in baseball, in the baseball world now, where there's no baseball and everybody lives in fairy tale land. You haven't gone against any real competition in months or months upon months. It depends when you last played your last game. You haven't been against any competition, so you lose sight of what it means to really have to grind your way through things and being on your game, and it's still not enough, and you have to make adjustments within the game, right? People are losing sight of that, and they're just thinking, I'm getting my work in. Look at me. I'm great. I'm great. I'm great. I'm great. My coach is great. My coach is great. My coach defends me with his nonsense. I mean, go all day with this stuff. I'm all for a coach defending his players, but let's be honest, when a coach is getting called out on his nonsense teachings by people who have been there at the major league level, major league, there's no level above it in the world, okay? Even if you're a bum at that level, you still have to go through the minor leagues to get there, and that's a dream that most people can never reach, all right? So respect that part of the hierarchy also, please. So basically, if you're an amateur coach trying to make a name for yourself, trying to help players, right? And what you're doing is being called out by major leaguers, go back to the lab, reevaluate yourself, reevaluate your teachings, look more into what it is, apply it to game situations. And also, on top of that, learn how to simplify it, okay? The best coaches in the game are the ones that can simplify it, make it very easy, very digestible for a player to understand, and put it into work right away. All right, you're doing a huge disservice to a player. You use these big words and make yourself sound like the authoritative figure, right? And they're spending their whole time trying to wrap their head around it. And the kid is too afraid to say he doesn't understand because he wants to keep the process moving. I get it. And he doesn't want to come out, make himself like think he's inadequate or make him think he's too dumb to understand these things. He wants to gut it out and figure out his way, but really, what progress is made? I mean, it's a backwards traction is where it's going. My goodness. So when major leaguers who have been there, like me personally, I've been around enough major leaguers. If I said something stupid and they just gave me that look, right? It's like, that's not how it is. I didn't double down on it. Took a step back. I learned about why they said it. I thought about why they said it, and thought about the other things they said after that in response to it, and the other things they just talked about in general, and how it applies to how they shut me down. Right? And then that's where you learn something. That's where you learn moving forward. You learn how to cut out the jargon and all the nonsense that slows down your brain or forces you to overthink the nonsense. That's the main thing I want to talk about. I had to get this off my chest to do my video this week. Be respectful of the game. Be respectful of those who have been there before you. And please be respectful of those who have been at the highest level. You're not equals with them. Until you may get there, you're not equals with them. So don't tell them that they don't know what they're doing. And you know what? They have so much experience and been around so many people that they're having a field day just laughing at your nonsense. And your attack tweets are just fueling. Like, they can do this all day. They're not offended by it. They're not bothered by it because they've been at the highest level in the world. Stop losing sight of that. Stop acting like it's not a big deal. It's a huge deal. Because the higher up you get in this game, you realize how much harder it is to get to the next level and the next and the next and the next. Okay, you see great players who are all going to peak at some point. Whether it be college, low A, high A, or high in the minors, or even just make it to the bigs. Everyone has a peak. You act like there's no peak anymore. You act like everything's limitless. All this new age guru feel good about yourself instruction. Everybody has a peak. Everybody has a limit. And you're acting like you can break through that glass ceiling. Come on. Get off your nonsense ship. You're only hurting yourself. Or you're hurting the people you're trying to sell this to. Get off of it, please. Look, if you're doing the right thing, you're working hard, you're keeping your mouth shut. That's a big thing, like in the right ways. Okay? You're learning from those who have been there. You can take the modern stuff, but you got to understand, you have to apply it. And when it doesn't work, you have to make adjustments. That's what this game is about. Okay? When you're doing the right thing, you know how to grind it out and fight your way through it and basically keep your mouth shut. Just no one wants to hear your ego run wild, especially when you're a nobody in the world. I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but in a realistic way. Okay? You want to be something and you're an amateur, you're nobody. Just deal with it. Okay? If you want to be a pro and it's obsession with you to be the best, go about it the right way. Be respectful in it. Okay? I mean, my whole life growing up, if I got to meet a minor leaguer, I was like in awe. I'm going to listen to what he says. Because what I know, what I think, means nothing in comparison to him. All right? And the teachings he's had, the coachings he's had, the influence he's had, the major leaguers he's been around, a great deal of them. I'm not going to sit here and tell him he doesn't know what he's talking about. When they speak, you listen. Right? Stop telling them they don't know what they're talking about. Stop telling them they couldn't play in today's game. All right? When you're seeing like hitters, ex-major league hitters, saying they don't like the launch angle stuff. And right, quite frankly, I don't blame them. When they're saying, and then kids on the internet are saying, you couldn't play today. They played against Randy Johnson. They played against Roger Clemens. They might have played against Nolan Ryan. Do you know who he is, kids? Play against Mariano Rivera. Play against Greg Maddux, okay? Don't tell them they couldn't play it today in today's game. That's nonsense. Same with pitchers. They're facing Barry Bonds. They're facing Tony Gwynn. They're facing Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire. You want to tell them they couldn't pitch in today's game? Please. Please. Stop lying to yourself. Stop being out of integrity with the game that you love. Please. You're doing it the right way. Hats off to you. I salute you. And as always, keep dominating, my friend. The human element of this great game is one of the greatest forces we have. And for some reason, people are trying to take it away. Saying it's not important. They're trying to teach you to be like a robot. Go play like a robot. Process data like a robot. Go ahead. Go be the robot. Let me know how that works out for you.